Hey everyone, hopefully everybody's doing very well out there. So when you're learning the altered skill, implementing it effectively over the changes can be a bit challenging.
I can't do it, Henry. Can't do it.
So in this video, I'm going to show you a pretty simple exercise you can use to learn how to implement the skill over the typical major 2-5-1 situation. Changes. And we'll also analyze the skill against the harmony, so you can see what it does and to help you to hear its functions. We'll also create a line with it, so by the end of this video, you should be able to at least survive yourself in this typical 2-5-1 situation. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around. So what is a alter scale? Well, the alter scale is what you get when you play the melodic minor scale from its 7th degree. Now within the melodic minor scale played from different degrees, there are more functions to be found. But the melodic minor scale on its own as a minor scale sounds like this. We have a tonic, volume. You have a tonic, major second, flat third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh. So it is a bit of a goofy major ending touch to it. So when you take your major 7 out of the melodic minor scale, that 7th degree, and play it from there as a new scale, then you get your altered scale. Let's do this. We take a A flat melodic minor scale, which is like this. And the major 7 of A flat is going to be a G. So from a G, the functions are going to be tonic, flat 9, sharp 9, major 3rd, sharp 11. You can say augmented 5th or flat 13th and flat 7. That is going to be our G alter scale. So you can say A flat melodic minor from G. But you do want to hear it as a dominant scale as soon as you can and not end up translating this from a melodic minor perspective and seeing it as a melodic minor scale. So the altered scale has an exciting and odd sound to it. It sounds a bit futuristic and modern with a bit of an weird whole note section there. I usually describe the feeling of the scale as sort of lifting you out of its comforting key. And of course, this is because of all the altered functions involved. These fall out of the regular mixolydian mode as normal 5th degree of a major scale bass. So if it sounds so discomforting to our ears, why would we play the alter scale? Well, of course, the alter scale creates a lot of tension against the harmony in a dominant situation. And when done correctly, this can also provide an extra soft and sweet landing and good release of tension. So when do we play the alter scale? It's pretty important to identify the situation correctly and not just play any scale by default, and especially not this one. Now, a dominant chord in a chord progression that is resolving both in major and minor, though major is a bit more common, can basically in general handle the alter scale. But the theory does give us a few very important exceptions. So when the dominant chord in the progression has a very naturally expressed 9 or 13, major 9 and 13, or when the melody is just really obviously expressing those notes, then of course the alter scale is going to clash with all of its altered 9s and a flat 13. So that's exactly when you don't play it. It became really dark here suddenly, which is fine. It's also not going to work when the feel of the tune, the atmosphere of the song is just 100% traditional and the improvisation should be matching, and going jazz is just not going to work. So yeah, further, there's no real theoretical rule that will prevent you from playing the alter scale, as long as the dominant is resolving. No option notes gives us the possibility to see if it works. Of course, the option notes from the alter scale, flat 9, sharp 11, flat 13. If those notes are given, then that moment basically likes you to have that sound there. Of course, it further comes down to preference and to taste and to the atmosphere of the song. For let's say in a minor situation, do you really want to add this mysterious and odd sound, or do you want to go for a more traditional harmonic minor approach? Of course, it's all up to the musician. It's important to try a lot of things, experiment and balance things musically. So this is a starting point for the exercise in learning how to implement this altered scale. And of course, this may come across as a little bit mechanically at first before you're able to use the scale freely and have some repertoire with lines and licks with it. But don't worry, in the end of the lesson, I'm going to show you 3 bonus ideas to already get you on your way to spice things up. Now, it does help to be already comfortable in playing the major and minor scales as well as the melodic minor scale all over the neck, let's say 5 positions, because then when we have our line, you can easily transition that into other positions. But if you're not able to do that yet, totally doesn't matter, because this line is quite effective and you can just learn this in one position and take it from there. Okay, let's go. Okay, so here's the chord progression we are going to be working with. It's very simple. It's a 2-5-1 in C major. So we have a D minor 7 on the 2nd degree, we have a G7 on the 5th degree, and a C major. On the G, we're going to play a flat 13 to make this altered dominant chord sound. So we have D minor 7, G7 altered, or G7 altered like this, including the flat 9, C major 7, and on the 4th bar, we're going to the C6-9 chord to stabilize the things a little bit further. I'm going to include the 9, the major 9, in the D. This is a natural tone of the scale. It's a major third of C, which is going to be a major 9 in D. So we have D minor 9, G7 altered, C major 7. Right? Okay, we're going to build up our line in the 3rd position. Hopefully this is a familiar scale shape. This is a 2-5-1 in the key of C major. So if you play your 2nd degree chord and you play your C scale over that, your C Ionian scale, your 1st degree scale, which is this one, over your D, it sounds like D Dorian. Over your G7 is going to sound like a natural, like a normal Mixolydian scale. And on your C chord, you'll get your C Ionian. Right? Now we're going to build up our line using Stoic 8 notes. We're just going to start very basically on the root note, on the tonic of the chord in question. So on our D minor or D minor 9, like D minor 7 or D minor 9, we're just going to play 8 notes starting from the 1. So we get our D Dorian like this. We get our 1, our major 2nd, our flat 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, major 6, flat 7, and a tonic again. Now on our G chord, of course we're going to play our G7 altered scale, but we're not going to start on a G. We're just going to try to see where we have left off and continue the scale from there. Now, this is the scale we're going to use. We're going to use G7 altered, which is a A flat melodic minor scale. Let me just play it once here from the G. Now, when we left off on this D, our next note will be this E flat here, and then it's going to be 8 notes from there. Let's see what it does. Here we have reached the limit of our position. And we're going to finish there. This is going to be a very beautiful perfect 5th for C. Like that. So this is what's going to happen with the Dorian mode in front of it. Right? Let me quickly give you a variation on this line where we're not going to resolve to the perfect 5th, but to the major 3rd. Then we're going to play our altered section like that. So this is our first basic line, let's say line example A, example B. And let's just really take it slow and practice this to a standard iReal 251 backing track. We're just going to take it really slow, and practicing this stuff slowly is very important, of course. I mean, it's one, of course, it helps you to technically get it solid and build a real good foundation without any mistakes. But it also gives the notes a bit of time and a bit of weight against the chords. And this will help you to hear how the things work against the harmony. Don't worry if this feels a little bit basic and a little bit mechanic and slow. Just take your time in practicing this material and just practice it very slow again. You just need to just hear the sound of the notes and the weight of the notes against the chords. And of course you're going to be able to really master it. And then speed will just come as a free byproduct of actually mastering the material. And you'll be happy that you took the time to practice this slowly, because then you'll actually really feel confident in executing these lines. Once you start to feel a little bit more confident in playing this line, let's say playing line A and line B over the changes, try to practice in alternating cycles between stoically practicing this line and just green light improvising. Just play anything you like, invent new licks and lines. You can also play the line with a bit more variation or own variation, play different things and improvise and include just wrong notes and have a lot of fun. And what's going to happen over time is that your practicing world is going to meet your feel-based world. And it will all start to sound and feel more musical and more like stuff as your own. That is, of course, the goal. Once we are a bit comfortable playing our line A and line B in position 3, let's try to transition this to the other positions. We might have to adapt some things, but you'll see that it's going to work out if you know your basic scale shapes. So we got our D Dorian here now in the 5th position. That's going to be like this. G7 altered from here. We'll start on this note. This is our flat 13 then. That will be line A, and line B will back to our major third there, or I will prefer this major third. On the G string it sounds a little bit thicker, but it's also like progressive playing. It will transition up in position. So here it is once more. And the other one. Okay, now the 7th position. This is our D Dorian. And then we have like that, or like that. Right, now our 10th position for D Dorian, then altered. It's a pretty nice position. And our line B. I would say go back to the major third like that. Alright. Okay, for in the key of C, this 12th position is not going to work out completely, but we're going to have to do a variation. And this variation I already had in mind as a bonus, but it will go like this. The Dorian should be like this. That is straightforward. If you think A flat melodic minor, G7 altered, it will be something like this. But that's out of position. So we're just going to try a variation and it's going to sound like this. Or, so over G7 altered, this variation sounds like perfect fifth, flat 13, then we have our major third for C like that. I think this works out nicely. Okay, now once we are able to play the line in more or less 5 positions, we can then start to really test ourselves by letting the progression cycle to the different keys, using the circle of fifths, the circle of perfect fourths, perfect fifths. Then we're going to try to play in more or less a static position on the neck, but we're going to move through the keys by using just a different or using the right scale on that position on the neck. Now, once you are able to play these lines in the different keys in more or less one position, that is going to be the same as playing one line in different positions in one key. Then you're going to be able to survive yourself playing these lines over a 2-5-1 progression. So here are a few bonus ideas to spice things up, to make things a little bit more musical and have some variation, and to make it sound a little bit less robotic. So here is a variation that resolves to the major third. I did this, of course, before up the neck when I was resolving our 12th position problem. Then we're going to play our altered like this. Over the G7 altered, we'll have a major flat 13, flat 7, tonic, flat 9, back. Then we're going to have a perfect fifth, flat 13 again, and we have a major third on the C. Right? Then another idea can be to use triplets. Of course, this is a nice variation. It has some rhythmic energy to it. So maybe like this. In jazz, in general rule is to play only legato on the second note of 3 triplets. So we play a pick note, then the hammer, and we also pick the outer one. It has a more punch to it. Here's another variation using triplets, and this is going to go down to the major third on C there. So then we'll have flat 13 with this flat 7 hammered, sus, major third, flat 9, tonic, flat 7, and then a major third for C like that. The next idea is a pretty powerful improvisation concept, the use of omitting notes. We start a line on the tonic, you know, and this tonic really starts to drone a bit. So what you can do is we play a upbeat, an up bar on the 4th count, let's say, or maybe like, yeah, let's say on the 4th count, so we have 2 8 notes. And we're going to use a scale note above the starting point. So in the D Dorian scale, that will be a E, a major 2nd above. So we have a major 2nd above, and then we're going to use a chromatic under, and that's going to be a major 7. That sounds exciting. So we have a major 2nd or major 9, major 7 on the 4th count, and it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3. This use of omitting notes is a pretty broad concept that can be maybe packed into another full lesson video. But you can also try to play this omitting notes on the 1st count of the bar. So then you sort of lift the weight from this tonic feeling. So when the weight is not on this tonic on the 1st count, but on the 9 on the 1st count, it sounds more interesting. Then it's going to sound something like this: 1, 2, 3, and. Hey, thank you very much for watching this, and please feel free to leave a comment here below. Don't hesitate to ask any questions because I'll read everything. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and if you feel you got something cool and useful out of this content, also check out my Buy Me a Coffee page. I'll link it here, I think. I mean, it's probably there somewhere. And there you'll find all sorts of backing tracks and transcriptions. Those are available for sale, but there's free access with memberships. So check it out if you're interested. For now, please take care, behave, and we'll see each other soon. Have a very nice weekend, you all, regardless of what day it is now.